in Rikers Island. It's a jail that won't admit to being a Dickensian insane asylum, but it is. And it's a pretty remarkable story. Everybody knows here in New York City that Rikers Island is a Dickensian insane asylum. And we read about it. Every 3 months, the New York Times will do an expose, and we go, that's horrible, but I don't want to pay taxes. That's really horrible, but I don't want to pay taxes. That's what Rikers is. Rikers is our city jail. But because we don't want to pay taxes, and because we no longer treat mental health issues, because we don't want to pay taxes, we put people who can't afford their meds or a psychologist, we put them eventually on Rikers Island, where prison guards make deals with gang leaders and become one and the same, where prisoners are beaten to death by guards or other prisoners, and it's covered up for a couple of months until the New York Times writes about it and we say that's horrible, but I don't want to pay taxes. Rikers Island, where prisoners are forced to fight one another so the guards and the gang leaders can place bets on the outcome. Is that legal? Is gambling legal in Rikers Island? Forget that's what people are asking, I'm sure. They don't care that guards and gang leaders are forcing other prisoners to fight one another. I'm sure they're upset about the illegal gaming that's going on. Rikers Island is something straight out of Midnight Express. The politicians and the media and the citizens, we all know it, but there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing, because nobody wants to pay more in taxes. We were supposed to close Rikers Island, but where are we supposed to put all these people who need psychological assistance? Rikers Island, a Dickensian insane asylum. I know the word insane is a pejorative. I'm using it in the Victorian parlance. Rikers Island is an insane asylum. We do not do social work. We do not do free treatment on demand for drug addicts. We don't take care of people who have deeply serious psychological issues. There's no place for them other than the streets. And then when they become violent, just violent enough, we send them off to Rikers Island. Now, have you heard about the Poo-Face Bandit? I wish I was making this up. There's a guy who got caught rubbing his poo into the face of a woman waiting for a subway. Now, just to be clear, because this is New York City, she was not paying for the privilege of having poo rubbed in her face. She did not want that, just so we're clear. Last week, a guy off his meds, living on the street, removed the contents of a bag containing his own excrement, and he smeared it all over a woman's head. He was arrested and became a folk hero when he told the judge to go F himself, and then added, and I quote, "shit happens." He has now become a beloved celebrity here in New York City. I'm assuming he's eventually going to run for office. Seriously, he is a folk hero. In New York, we admire someone for going meta with his own poo. He was punning. He was saying shit happens, or that's some bad shit. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to be funny. It's true about his poo. And guess what? This wouldn't surprise you if you're from New York City. He was charged previously with a hate crime and released. This was about a month ago. He was arrested for another hate crime in Brooklyn, where he punched a guy in the chest and shouted, "effing Jew." He was released. Why? Because he's got severe mental health issues, right? It's not legal to lock up somebody who is mentally ill. And some of our judges here in New York City know that. The guy is clinically deranged. And anybody who goes before a judge and tells the judge to go F himself needs treatment. And the judge being hearing the case about the poo smear, when he heard about this and the man told him to go F himself and said shit happens, the judge knew that this is a homeless man who is off his meds, if he was ever even prescribed any. The judge knows that any man who smears his own feces on a woman sitting at a train station needs medical attention, not jail. But in a city where nobody wants to pay taxes, the outrage in New York is we need to get tough on crime, even though this was an act of desperation. Wasn't really a crime. We go right to lock these people up. Now, if someone smeared his own feces on me or punched me in the chest and called me an effing Jew, I would want to punish this person. But that's just because he reminds me of my son. Up until my son turned 6, that's pretty much what I went through every day. Him smearing his feces on me, punching me, and calling me an effing Jew. But if it's not my son, I would want to punish this person who did something like that to me, because if it's not my son, it's not funny. I get that. But a reasonable society would not want to punish this person. A reasonable society recognizes that this guy is mentally ill. A reasonable society, in fact, any other society in the industrialized world other than America, would assign a social worker to this guy and make sure he is given all the psychiatric treatment he needs and all the medicine he needs. Maybe not a laxative, but all the other medication he needs, so I can walk the streets of my city and not have to worry about someone rubbing their excrement all over my face, unless I pay him to do that, because it's the only thing that makes me feel alive, which it doesn't. It makes me feel a little alive, but not enough to justify the cost of paying someone to rub their excrement all over me. I don't know what it's like in the suburbs, but in Manhattan, it's way too expensive and it's not fresh.